So I'm Giorgos Kallis, and I'm a professor here in political ecology and ecological economics. We recently will published with my colleagues Giacomo Darlis and Federico De Maria a book called Degrowth, a vocabulary for a new era by Routledge. And today in my presentation I shared with students some of the ideas of this book. Basically, the presentation had two parts. On the first part, I reflected a little bit on how we understand degrowth, what does it mean. And on the second part, I responded to some of the common criticism to degrowth. And given the responses and further questions that might be generated from these responses, I identified some research projects or research questions that can help us develop our understanding and our theory of degrowth. So in the first part, I basically argued that degrowth is not about declining GDP or just reducing material use. It's not just about less, it's about less and different. And I said that people who argue that they live the degrowth way have certain characteristics, that they are also the characteristics that come out strong in the degrowth literature. And it's the emphasis on self-limitation and simplicity, the devotion of time and work on caring for others, process of commoning that create new commons, and I also talked about the idea of direct democracy, which is the way we decide together, and the theory of autonomy, which is the idea that we are not governed by some external laws to which we have to obey and adapt, but we can make our own laws. So using this background on degrowth, then I talked about some of the common criticisms. For example, one criticism is, but why do we need to degrow? We can have a service economy that grows indefinitely forever. Look at Facebook or other websites, for example. Then I talked about people who are saying that green growth is possible. For example, we can still grow and have renewables and not cause any problem to climate change. I talked about people who are against the growth because they are saying we are too pessimistic and we are seeing limits to growth and we are like Malthus, who proved himself wrong. I argued against people who are saying that the growth is potentially against democracy because democracies collapse when there is no growth, and the growth is calling for a totalitarian state to impose its view. And I also talked about the questions of whether degrowth is possible within capitalism, and if a degrowth transition is to take place, who will do it, how all these big changes that we advocate will take place. So I won't give the answers now. If you're interested for the answers to all these questions and potential concerns, valid concerns that someone might have with the idea of degrowth, our book could be a starting point to go deeper into these issues and start thinking about them.
When is the book about to be published?
The book will be published October or November 2014.
We will look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you for the interview.
Thanks.